Thank you for the warm welcome, and before we start, a quick thank you, Alessia, to you and the whole DLD team. I'm really looking forward to a conversation that will be very intelligent and, of course, well designed, not only because of our topic, but also because of my two panelists. Thank you both for being here. As you all know, at DLD panels are short, so we don't have much time. But I want the audience to get to know you really quickly. So let's start with a quick fire round. Short questions, short answers. We'll dive deeper into some of these topics later. In your jobs, AI is fundamentally changing how people work. Agree or disagree?
Very much agree.
Don't agree.
AI will mean less work or lower pay in your profession. Agree or disagree?
Say it again?
AI will mean less work or lower pay in your profession.
It's interesting, two things to pair together. Not less work, no.
I think AI, you can do more with the same.
Human-made art or design will always keep its own value for clients and art lovers. Agree or disagree?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
AI alone cannot be truly creative. It needs the human. Agree or disagree?
Disagree.
At this point, agree, but I'm very curious about the breaking point, and that's why I'm very curious about Harry's also view on these.
I'm glad today's AI tools weren't around when I was training in my craft. Agree or disagree? And if so, why?
Can I hear the question again?
I'm glad today's AI tools weren't around when I was training in my craft. Agree or disagree?
These are very difficult, quick-fire questions. I mean, it's very speculative, but I think I'm grateful for the absence, personally.
I don't think it would have made a difference either way.
Interesting. So Anders, for many in this room, it's probably the first time they meet a car designer. Tell us briefly, what does your job actually include, and where do you already use AI in that process?
Well, that was two questions.
I know, we don't have much time.
I know,
so.
don't have much time. No, we create automobiles, and that's a car with four wheels that basically moves. But what we found out is that the products that we create is more than the, obviously, as you say, more than the sum of its parts. We create an experience. There's a lot of wanting, a lot of yearning, a lot of aspirations in an automobile. Either comfort and how you feel and how you believe that car makes you feel, or obviously with a Mini, it will give you that feeling that is very different to that of a Rolls-Royce. And these feelings is more, of course, than the car you're seeing in front of you on its four wheels. And that's why we believe that also creating automobiles for the future, saying specifically automobiles, is creating an experience. And creating that experience takes a lot of gut feeling, a lot of conviction, a lot of vision, and a lot of tools, which can be either traditional, or, as that's why we're sitting together today, a lot of future tools that will help us enhance the experience.
And where in this process do you see the most impact of AI so far?
Well, currently, I think that AI helps us, let's say, create unseen variations that maybe the human mind might not have thought of. So from here to here, there are all these in-betweens that based on our experience, our upbringing, and where we trained and what we've done, we might not have arrived at that solution. And that's where AI opens a whole new gap of in-betweens, gaps, opportunities. You find the gap, you go there, AI will open another door for you, you can go there. What you need where you go there is the human intuition, in my view, an ability to wish to curate content, to say, well, this is cool, maybe this is on the back burner, we'll wait with this one, we'll take this, we'll bring that forward. You're curating a lot of input. Where AI currently has not given me anything is, and I guess also that's a little bit the controversial topic, is the thing that I never thought that I was going to see. I have not seen that yet. I always talk about the word yearning. you're aspiring for something where what makes the goosebumps I have immediately if I see something special, when will AI, and we'll say intentionally when will AI create that moment of yearning or have the moment of yearning in order to create something that I would never have anticipated. So that complete openness to a new solution, I think we have roads there, but as Harry also knows very well and is the pro in this field, is also we need to have a dialogue about how to get there. And that's why I think it's highly inspirational, but oftentimes the question is, are you afraid of it? Is it disturbing our work process? No, not at all, by all means. Another tool in the belt, and we will work with it. I'm happy to do that.
Yeah, Harry, some in the audience may have seen your performance yesterday, others not. You create art that would not even be possible without AI. What is it about, and what does using AI give you that nothing else can?
Well, it's almost a huge contradiction because my central practice my whole life has been voice. And I've dived very deep into the potential of voice, the physical capabilities of voice. But I can't believe it's 10 years ago now. I spent my first 3 months at Harvard University, and I met an individual called CJ Carr. And he was a computational engineer, and he said, Harry, if you provide me with a data set, we can generate a synthetic voice. And for some reason, I found that mystical, fascinating, intimate, interesting. So I generated these synthetic voices and was so inspired hearing phrases, patterns, but as soon as I shared that with my peers, they were disgusted, they were creeped out, they felt a disdain. And it just showed that there was this journey, this work to be done, that if we are, in my case, voice, and everyone in this room, we are going to start to create these generative mirrors or counterparts or synthetic twins, that it can be called. And I saw that as a new artistic medium. Throughout the last 10 years, creating many different versions of synthetic voices as creative partners, as mentors, but now moving deeply into this idea of agent design. So beyond just a voice, what is a deep conversation that you can have? How do these technologies push us to emerge into new ideas, to think, feel, and say things that we may potentially have felt without that interaction, because then it serves a human purpose. So much of the art and the work is really trying to think of the dance between us and the machine. Does it lead to emergence? Does it lead to new things that serve us as human beings? And that's a very difficult artistic challenge.
And today you collect and digitize voices from all over the world. I had my own voice cloned. Some people love it. My own brother hates it and say it sounds like a fake person trying to speak with my voice. Are you even trying to get close to reality?
So one of my, as a designer, the last 6-7 years in terms of directing and actually creative direction, one of my main frustrations is this idea of a humanoid, the human features, realism from a human perspective. And this kind of creepy sensation that you speak about is when there's an implicit suggestion of replacement. And there are so many ways, like in the performance, there was an abstraction visualization of my digital twin. There's so many design opportunities that aren't about replacing what we already are. And I am interested really like in that environment. So if we create a voice, I think a perfect copy offers something very different to a voice if you design that is there to be a partner in terms of a collaborator, not a partner. As we know, that is a subject currently in the world. But these design choices are very, very new. And I'm very much for the creative enhancement, not the complete automation and replacement of creating human-based designs.
In both your professions, creativity is central. So let's ask the big question. What's creativity, and can AI generate it?
I just spoke, so I'll hand it to you.
Well, creativity, I think, is life. Yeah, I think from flowers to photography to food to the wonders of the world, like travels or whatever. Creativity is seeing an alleyway somewhere in Chile and say, let's go in there and experience something there. Creativity is being confident, going someplace where you have not been before. That's how I see creativity. I see it in music. yeah, we do know what a scale is, but I also like the in-betweens and all the tones and notes that are available in the spectrum. So creativity is having the confidence to go where you previously have not been, and then together, I would also say, from a creative standpoint with our team, when we design things, also creativity is also to want to listen to other people. So it's very important, and I mean want. You have to ensure that you listen to other people with empathy and to say, what are your dreams, what are your aspirations? So if you do walk down that alley somewhere, you also have to ask the people that come with you, how do you feel, what do you want? And I'm talking about it figuratively in a country or in a design process. And ask what people are looking for and what were you thinking about and what do you feel when you see this? And I believe that represents ultimately also what we hope to create vehicles that then inspire our clients or customers that want to come back for more. So for me, creativity is to, on the one hand side, go places where you haven't been before and be confident in that, and also wanting to listen to other people.
What's your perspective?
So I think this beautiful question, my answer, I talk about this very simple idea of emergence. And knowledge is the repetition of validated systems, things that we know that works, the way that we maybe walk to an event, a route that we know. But creativity happens when there is the bravery to explore and find value in new systems of validation. And that's a terrifying thing when you step outside of the known. And I can't say it more intensely that not all expression is emergence. I think there's a lot of AI which is a kind of regurgitory intelligence, which has purpose to create a piece of music that might work for a certain setting, or to generate a visual that might work for an advert. It's very different to a complex chess system that is doing a move that is beyond a human expression. To get something out that you've been desperate to share, and by interacting with a machine, it mines your potential. That is emergence. So for me, creativity is when that bravery and proficiency come together that leads to emergence. And when AI is used in that way, I think it can be so sensitive and there can be antiquity. It's stunning to live in that space. And I think as artists, we're always in the pursuit of emergence, and emergence is creativity.
What a creative answer.
I like it.
When I think of my admiration for art, it's often because I feel I could never do that. So I could never hold a brush like that.
Of course you can.
Huh?
Of course you can.
Of course I can. Huh?
Yeah, of course.
Or I couldn't carve a stone like that. So an artist like Leonardo da Vinci or Caravaggio, they painted in ways no human before them ever could. What does it mean for art and design if creation itself becomes just a technical execution? Because suddenly with AI tools, almost anyone can create almost everything.
Well, I really believe that these systems will lead to a huge diversity in vision, that the ways in which individuals, I'm particularly interested in the working class and AI. I'm from a working class background in London. Only 5% of individuals are in the working class in creative industries and in the arts. And what we're seeing is there's a really incredible, many new ways that a single individual is able to share a vision that would normally require a small team. And I think that is something that requires craftspersonship, but also that is a new expression. And that is not just a technical feat. So there is already many human expressions that are purely technical. There's lots of expressions of art that are just systems and repetition. But based on human expression I think the AI process really calls for this emergence, this play, this experimentation, which won't just be a purely technical act.
And you think I could be
agree.
the next Leonardo?
I could not agree more. I have to say, I know it sounds a little bit maybe cheesy, but I really fundamentally agree with this. The point is, that's why I was just interrupting you before and say, everybody can draw, I firmly believe. And Harry's a voice expert. I think everybody can sing. If you look at cultures in any part of the world where voice is a part of human being and an expression, to say, no, I don't sing, that's a grave mistake in my view. So the real point is actually the educational side. AI offers almost like an easy entrance, almost like the cliff notes to creativity. It empowers you, it gives you more boost. It's basically like the good running shoes that make you run a little bit faster. It's really cool. You can do more sports with a good pair of shoes, I believe. So in that regard, if you look at it from here to here, and you say you have this many hours, 24 hours, let's shorten it and say, okay, you're working 8, 10, 12 hours a day on creativity. AI can actually optimize the time that frees you up to study Leonardo da Vinci more. That means I have certain process steps that will be compressed, that will give you more time to understand philosophy and meet with artists and ask questions, because there's a certain amount of efficiency that goes in. I was very specific before when I said, I think you can do more with the same. I don't believe in efficiency because we all want to get better, that's okay. But I don't think that AI should represent the same with less. Because what do you do with the remaining time? You need to do more with the same as a premise, because that would make us grow as a creative community.
Just to add one thought on that. So I didn't expect them to show this like for the whole talk, but to Anders' point, this idea of doing more, this is a visual representation of a voice. This was a conversation between two people, and this is a 200,000 particle system. And just to simply cross-modally re-represent something, I think sometimes when we think of moreness and these technical feats, we're thinking additively, how can we add more features, more ideas? But one of the most beautiful things that these systems can do is to take something that already exists and find a sensory counterpart. To take a sound and make it a visual and vice versa. That cross-modal shifting, I think, is as interesting and beautiful to take a voice and create form as the complexity and the addition of more and more spectacle and features. Because I think the most beautiful part, and what I hope AI can do, what humans can do, is fall in love with less. Sometimes it's about finding what you actually need, then this idea of constantly adding more. And I think technical systems can allow us to have a deeper understand of the simplicity and limits of being human, which I think is the most beautiful thing.
And if I may add a sentence, and Lisa, and I know you have a question here, but the reason why the synthesizer was so important is the synthesizer was invented to represent an oboe or a piano or other things. The minute our friend Bob Moog found out to invent a synthesizer, that became its own instrument, and it opened a world to music in the 70s or late 60s, early 70s. And we all know that Bronski Beat or New Order, that's art, that's real art, made with sound that does not represent a human-created instrument. And that's what's so beautiful about the addition of a synthesizer into a musical spectrum. And I see AI as the same thing. It's another opportunity for expression.
Okay, let's make it very concrete. Imagine training an AI model on every BMW design ever made, and I already know you do something like that. And then asking it, give me a new BMW for 2025. How do you think the result would be, and what would it still be missing?
Well, I'll start with the first point. I know we don't have much time, but I will explain. And it's also, I think, for the group here and also for you, Harry, quite interesting, because from a standpoint of how do you create a BMW, a Mini, even a Rolls-Royce with AI? For me, it's important that input equals output for starters. That means that we have an internal collection bank that we have developed within DesignWorks currently, where we collect all the knowledge we have on BMW of the past, the heritage, the legacy, what we have experienced for many years, and we curate it and mix it respectfully with other inputs like art, furniture design, directions, without compromising the IP of the artists that have created that, ensuring that we have a internal collection of that knowledge. And with that, we then create more bandwidth, as I say, more with the same. That means if I ask for 100 sketches, I'm going to get 180 sketches with new. And that is, I think, the opportunity in AI. And then, anyways, our selection process is very much based on, dare I say, a knowledge, a gut feeling around the vehicle that we want to create. But the access to more is what really inspires us.
So what's still missing?
What's still missing?
What's still missing?
The genius of people like Harry, I would say. No, I mean that sincerely, because we really we have a harder and harder time. We have some really bright minds, and we always find, it's interesting you mentioned Da Vinci. I actually internally use the term that those really genius people that know how to combine tools, I call them Da Vincis. Internally, that's what we say. We need more Da Vincis. Because Da Vinci could do aesthetics, philosophy, construction, architecture, everything in one. That means we need to work with tools. We need to be able to draw still. We need to do this. But the Da Vinci is there to be found in the future. So the limitation is there are people that might not know yet that they will have a contribution to the BMW group, and we will find them.
Okay, now we've learned that BMW trains its own AI models.
Yeah.
But yeah, developers of large AI models are sued by authors and artists around the world because their text and images were used for training without permission. And in the US, actors and screenwriters even took to the streets and protests saying that such AI tools could replace them in the future. Yeah. Do you sympathize with that, Harry? Or would you say even if AI is trained on my work, it still cannot do what I can?
The key word is consent. So there is a huge difference between a bespoke model, an artist that has taken time to craft a knowledge base, craft a data set, they have their poetry, their ideas of the last 10 years, and then generating output versus a large model that has scraped all kinds of content and data without consent. These are two very different examples and use cases. I support consent as an artist. I support AI and the potential of AI for humans as an artist. I don't think those two things are mutually exclusive. And as long as we're supporting consent, we need to really update our idea of ownership with AI. I think there will be another use case for blockchain and AI when it comes to the abundance and the sort of media explosion that we're going to face through generative media. How do we know something is true? How do we know that we own it? And I think if an artist creates from their own data, they have ownership and craftspersonship with that process, and that is as artistic as someone sitting down and painting or me writing a vocal piece. So I'm very much in support of that, and it can be very, very beautiful when it's done correctly.
You agree, Anders?
I fully agree. Consent, I mean, it's a better word. What I thought in my mind was you need to deal with input anyways with respect. So there's a gray zone of using, I mean, I guess in music this is referred to as fair use. That's sort of the current terminology. I'm not a lawyer on this business, but I would say the minute you use information, because we all use information we see, it's the fair use of that. Fair means you have to think of the creator who created it and keep this person in mind. And if that means that you ask for collaboration and you help maybe with some funding or whatever, but you cannot just take and run off with it. I think we all agree on that. And I think consent is the right word.
I want to end this panel with a question that matters especially for the younger generation. With AI, many things can now be done automatically, tasks that you had to learn by hand, both of you. So what's your advice? What should young professionals in 2025 still make sure to learn by hand?
So this isn't just for young people. I think this is for everyone in this room and anyone that I ever engage with. My opinion is we are moving into the age of the data set, the art of the data set. Often data is used outside of your day-to-day sort of intentions, but that information will become more and more precious over the next 10 years. If you as a practitioner in any discipline are keeping your output, your data, the way that you work, you will have an advantage with these models than people that don't as time goes on. Because the bespokeness of your expression is the engine that drives this opportunity. So keeping your data, learning how to structure your data is essential. And then the final thing I'll say is one of the main projects that I'm excited by is speaking agents, conversational AI as storytellers. And this other piece of advice is the rigidity that we can speak to these systems, the way that we can prompt. Yes, you can get from A to B, but one of our aha moments as a studio is we were designing meditation journey, this ability to kind of hallucinate through 3 dreams, and it felt very cold and not sort of expressive. So I took 200 of Carl Jung's dream studies. We took a ton of abstract poetry, experimental data, and then we put that in with our structured knowledge base, and then the poetry that started to come out of this agent. So experiment with abstraction, with the structure in your knowledge bases and the way that you're trying to train AI, because then I think something truly creative can happen. But that's just my opinion. So,
what's your advice on this?
No, I fully agree. I think the point is that there's more time to actually study the masters. And I think we should take that time. In car design, there are certain principles that we have to adhere to and that we work with: ergonomics, aerodynamics, proportions, lines, surfacing. If we use our future tools right, it would allow us to be even more understanding of the legacy of the work that has gone before. So I think it would give us more time to study the masters.
I think those were great takeaways. Thank you to both of you. Please join me in a big round of applause for Anders and Harry. Thank you.